Welcome to Deep Look, Ultiworld's weekly radio show about the current state of Ultimate. I'm the host and the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Keith Raynor, on this Wednesday, August 6th, noon Eastern Time, where we're live every single week on YouTube. Keith, we're both freshly back from Colorado and the U.S. Open and the Youth Club Championships. A beautiful weekend in Aurora. What'd you think of U.S. Open and YCCs this year?
Well, it was temperate for the second straight year. I know that was a big issue for particularly the YCC folks. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's still some more griping to be done about that. But it's been a warm summer.
You thought it was hot?
The way it is.
That's comfortable temperatures for Denver.
I mean, as hot and humid as it's been over on the East Coast, it was comfortable for us. But we weren't running around chasing plastic with like 11 teammates or something like some of these YCC teams were.
We had one round with heat timeouts. It simply wasn't that hot. It was pretty hot on Monday, like by the afternoon, but I thought it was actually like beautiful this weekend.
I mean, the things mostly held up pretty well. I mean, we only had a little bit of wind. We had some brief lightning delays, but like all things considered for a big Ultimate tournament, it went off without a hitch. And there was some really cool stuff that you get from specifically having YCCs and the US Open together. And yes, it comes with problems, but it comes with benefits. And we got to see some of them. For those who didn't hear about the US World Games team, the USAU was giving out trading cards packs, and you'd get 7 players in your cards, and then if you got them all signed by World Games players, you could get a prize, which is like a sweet prize and a sweet contest for the kids to be doing. And I talked to some of the World Games players, and they're like, "Yeah, kids were coming up to us all weekend. Like that's fun."
You jogged my memory. I have 3 packs in my bag. We're gonna crack them live on the pod.
We're gonna crack a pack.
What are we gonna pull, Keith? Are there hollows?
I can't believe you didn't.
I don't know what to expect. By the time
USAU should have gone
some
the whole
around,
way.
you were already gone. I wanted you to have one so we could each open one. But yeah, no, we'll do that. I don't want to pause the show to go get my bag like right now, so I'll go get it in the break and we'll do it after. So don't let me forget. Okay, so much to get into with US Open, but before we do that, it is time for our trivia question of the week.
All right, Charlie, your trivia question this week. This one comes in from your neighborhood historical statistician, William Brody Brotman. So shout out to him and Ultimate Dash History. And I guess sponsored by Spindrift. Spindrift, throw us some bones.
This island punch is unbelievable, Keith.
This is like when you and Pat started doing your like power rankings of these soda
Spindrift
waters.
flavors. Oh, just overall soda waters. Yeah, Spindrift number 1.
Ridiculous.
Polar Seltzer number 2. Sorry, let's keep it going here. Sorry.
Okay, your trivia question of the week this week though is who is the first player to appear on awards podiums in the same season in both college and club?
Can I get a small hint? When is the first year we ran them both in the same year? 2013? Or did we do 2014?
I think 2014 was the first year that we ran both.
And the question is the first player to finish on the
podium,
player of the year podium?
In both the college and the club season. In any podium, any awards podium. And I'm excluding coaches, only players.
This is only one person?
Yes, there are a couple. So there are 3 people. There are multiple people have done it. This is the first person. There were multiple people in that year, but the other 2 were all team designations in one division and on the awards podium in the other. This person specifically was on the awards podium in both college and club.
My answer is coming up after you tell us a little bit about Breakmark, Keith.
Beautiful tease. It is the 20th anniversary of Breakmark, and they're celebrating. They're doing free giveaways on Instagram. Make sure you check out Breakmark on Instagram so you can get some of the free goodies. You can enter into the contest. Very easy, very fun. Check it out on Fridays when they pop off. And they also heard from many of their customers that people have been enjoying the sublimated bundles that they do, but sometimes you just want one item or two items or something. So they lowered the prices on all their core sublimated items. You can get sublimated shorts for $30. Sublimated short sleeves are reversibles. Those are $35. So you get the same quality, the same amazing customer service. You get fully sublimated gear. I'm not talking like a t-shirt here. I'm talking sublimated gear at a discounted price with great customer service from Breakmark. So check out our friends over at Breakmark.
All right. I will be shocked if I'm wrong. My answer is Jimmy Mickle.
I love the confidence though. I love the confidence. You're in the right space. Who's another great thrower, but from the women's division, who is both deeply successful in college and club?
2014.
2014. Or sorry, 2014 was the first year that we did this. This actually was not given out until 2016.
Oh, so this didn't happen. So Mickle somehow, maybe we didn't do podiums or something. I can't believe that it wasn't him. Okay, so 2016. Oh my gosh. Great thrower. Podium.
Oh, I guess so. You are right that 2016 is the first year that we did club podiums. We had done all club teams in years prior, and we did a 2015 Player of the Year in club.
I think I deserve. I deserve.
First year we did full podiums
credit.
is 2016. Yeah, we'll retract your buzzer. Jimmy didn't do it, so it's not. But your buzzer's retracted.
It's fair. I'm having a hard time thinking of who this person would be because for whatever reason I want to say Ella Hansen, but it doesn't seem right. Because I don't think she would have been on the club podium. But I'm like, who was in college and killing it in both college and club in 2016? I don't know.
I'll give you another hint.
Okay, I need a hint.
We just watched this person at the US Open. They're still a cornerstone member of their team. Women's division handler is where you're at right now, or thrower.
2016. That was Dartmouth times, maybe. Angela Zhu.
There you go. You found your way there with a lot of guidance, but you did find your way there. Angela Zhu is the answer to the trivia question. Angela was both the first runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year in club, as well as the Offensive Player of the Year in college, in D1 college. The other two players who appeared but were all team selections are Jeff Babbitt and Sarah Ancio, a name that I feel like has kind of disappeared into history. Sarah Ancio.
Yeah, wild.
Real ones now.
So, okay. I'm going back into our doc because I need to know. Mm-hmm. Surely Jimmy won Player of the Year in 2014 in college, right? And then
he did, but we didn't give out Player of the Year but he was all club first team. So he was both
the first team, and he was the first
All-American
player on the first team. I feel vindicated in my guess. That is all I will say.
That's fair. You don't have to feel bad about guessing Jimmy Mickle.
All right. Well, let's talk about the U.S. Open. Jimmy Mickle was at the U.S. Open. A lot of top players not playing because of World Games, but I don't really think that took too much shine off the event. Maybe it colors some teams' results a bit. And there were some European players playing for their European team instead of their U.S. team. Don Desmarais, perhaps most notably. I just want to kick us off with this. Is Don Desmarais right now, August 2025, is he the best player on the planet?
I mean, I will definitely say he is firmly in the conversation. I don't know if we have a clear number one at this moment. I don't know that I would feel confident saying that we do, but he's definitely in the conversation. I mean, the way Christian Boxley was playing at the US Open, that gives me pause, and Rafi Hayes wasn't playing, Chris Kocher, Henry Yang, those are players maybe you put into that into that space on the male matching side. So I just think we don't have a clear one, which is a fun place to be. I mean, I think we're in the same place on the women matching players, but uh, yeah, I don't feel confident enough to say firmly yes, but he should be in consideration. I mean, the guy is a tank out there and is pretty much undeniable.
I just I want it's been on my mind because he's just been so unbelievable in the UFA this season. He's been unbelievable in Europe for like 2 or 3 years. You know, he's won Player of the Year award over there. And then he comes out with Mooncatchers and like is very obviously their best player this weekend. It just seems to not be stoppable. Like I know that people throw that around, but like he's just genuinely like suddenly he'll just be open by 10 yards in the deep space and he can fire flick hooks and he's still getting better. Really impressive player. We'll talk more about him and Mooncatchers in a bit. Why don't we start on the women's side where San Francisco Fury, Keith, is just, they're on another level right now. They take down the US Open over, how about Seattle Riot? They had such an awesome weekend. But Fury is A1, tier 1, S tier on their own right now, Keith. They beat Molly Brown 15-1 this weekend. Does anybody have a chance to beat this team at Nationals, or are they just going to go undefeated and rock everybody all season? Because that's what it feels like.
I mean, 15-1 is pretty good. Now that Molly Brown team was shorthanded, right?
Well, of course, but
so was Fury.
For an elite team to lose 15-1, I mean, it simply doesn't happen with a team as good as Molly Brown.
I mean, they
and to me, it speaks
don't
to
forget
the quality of Fury's defense.
Don't forget their first tournament, they bageled a team that might be at Nationals. They bageled Pop. Like, I know that doesn't have the cachet of Molly Brown, but like, you'll just casually bagel potential Nationals teams during the regular season. Nobody has scored.
Wow.
Seattle Riot's 11. It's just anybody's even come to them. Like they've given up double digits 3 times. Like they are steam.
It's utter beatdown mode right now. I think we lost Keith. So I'm going to just vamp while he gets his connection back online. Keith had to go to the library because his home internet is down. So now maybe the library internet is down. But let's take a look at the bracket. Fury 15-11 over Riot. And I mean, they are on pace to be like the highest rated team of all time, like in the algorithm. I mean, they're just crushing teams. 15-1 over Molly in quarters, 15-10 over a really good Bent team in semis, 15-11 over a Riot team that was, you know, as good as we've seen them play since before COVID, for sure. They are so back. I mean, that's the other big storyline for me this weekend is how good Riot looks. I mean, they beat Bent, they beat Brute 15-12. They haven't beaten a Brute, Fury, or Molly since 2019. This is like legitimately unprecedented. And I mean, just contributions up and down the roster. I don't even know if you can pull out a player and say they were obviously their best player. Like just really strong all around. The, you know, young players, the youth pipeline has just refilled this team. And coming out of COVID, you know, they lost a lot of players to Mixtape and BFG. And they were not a great team for a couple seasons, but it feels like Seattle Elite Women's Ultimate is so back. And I don't know if they can win a championship, but I'm ready for Riot to be back in the title conversation for years to come. Keith, I see your video has changed. Are you back?
I believe I'm back. Can you hear me?
We have you. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. It was unclear to me if we had lost you or lost me for a little bit, but I figured it out and I got back in. For
All
those
right, welcome back.
Yeah, joyfully, I'm having technical difficulties because I'm not at my home where my internet has been failing all day. So I'm in a public library. Shout out to public infrastructure.
They actually know that because I discussed that during your hiatus. But
thank you.
Yeah,
how far did
what
I
are your
get
thoughts
into
about
talking
Riot?
about Fury's dominance?
I think we got the point.
Oh, I mean, we're only 10 years of it. I think, yes, we got the point.
Yeah, fair. But I mean, Keith, they look more separated from everyone else than I've seen in a long time. And they had
Yeah,
Delana
I mean,
Thompson this weekend, and they had no Finney this weekend.
yeah,
Like arguably their two best handlers.
they're scary. I mean, it definitely feels like everybody's chasing them. I don't know that we have any team like that in any division right now that feels like they're that far out in front. Maybe it's all going to come out in the wash once everybody's back. Is there any team better suited to deal with the absences of two all club players than Fury? Probably not.
Agreed.
So, you know, maybe the playing field will level out a little bit when other teams can lean into their top end a little bit more. They don't feel infallible by any means, but they certainly feel like they're bullies in the division right now.
How good is this Fury defense compared to the ones we've seen in the past?
On the level currently, I mean, you talk about what Finney and Thompson bring to the backfield as handlers, and they're both voracious defenders. And then you've got, Dozer, Shayla Harris has been on a terror campaign since even getting into World Games tryouts. Sharon Lynn is another tremendous defender from their lineup. Like they go up and down the roster. Like I don't know what deal with the devil Anna Nazaroff has made, but somehow she seems just as agile and capable as ever. They feel like they've taken over the Brute Squad reputation as like the preeminent defense team. I mean, I know that Brute Squad and Scandal in particular are programs that have a lot of defensive acumen and people respect them for that, but the Fury defense is the one I think everybody's really doesn't want to run into.
For sure. Other teams have work to do. I don't think adding back World Games players is going to be enough to beat Fury. Teams are going to have to sharpen up their offense quite a bit against the pressure that Fury is bringing right now if they want to have a chance to win a title in October. That said, like some teams have to get a little bit of a pass this weekend. Like how can you evaluate Scandal without Claire and Cammy? They were okay. They beat Bent. They lost. I mean, maybe the loss to Parcha feels a little shaky, but again, it's just, I don't think you can truly assess this team when they're missing, I think, literally the best player in the division in Claire Trope and a top 10 player in Cammy.
Agreed. And those two individuals are we've seen their influence for the Scandal team over the years. They have an outsized impact. I think it's fair to say that the team does not feel like it is itself without them. Like they're just too influential a player to ignore. Obviously Anna Thompson and Carolyn Finney are super talented, but it doesn't feel like Fury
style
needs
so different.
them. Yeah, it's just a different type of environment. I still, I picked this Scandal team to make the final. I still am a little disappointed with their performance ultimately. They were missing a couple other players, I think, too, as regular season tournaments go. But I think I still believe in them. It just feels like you have to give them an incomplete grade, but not giving me a ton of confidence right now.
Who else stood out for you, Keith, in the women's division?
Well, this is not a. Do you want just positive standouts? You want some positivity, or
you can hit me with the negatives too.
How about 2 and 4 showing for Flipside with losses to Kelp and Grit?
Not good.
Excuse me. That's not going to
play. Does Kayla matter that much?
I mean, Kayla matters a lot, especially the flip side. I mean, the numbers back that up. She is one of the highest usage players in the division, probably. But when you're a potential semifinalist and you still have Christian Pajunas and Caitlin Weaver and Abby Schiltz and Tori Gray and Laura Bloomy, like the cupboard was far from bare. This is a disappointing set of results, and I think worthy of concern.
Yeah, not great. To me, it speaks to the, this kind of mid-level depth that the women's division has now. Teams like Grit and Kelp, they're not going to win nationals, but they're pretty good. they're pretty good. Like Kelp, that was their only win, but they were very competitive against a Parcha team that's a lot better than they were. I mean, the top end of this tournament is so strong. I feel like you got to be pretty impressed with what they were able to do this weekend. Um, Emma Williamson, really good. May Hecht is really good. Uh, Rena Kawabata. Like, they have enough talent. I think if they earn a bid, they're going to go to nationals.
That's probably true. I mean, I think you got to favor them over Vengeance currently, but
They're right
that
at the
is their
bubble right
lone
now.
win. That is their lone win. But being competitive with Parcha is a good sign. I don't know what to make of them losing 15-11 to Molly Brown based on the Molly Brown roster, but yeah, I think this
That's
Kelp
just
team looks solid. But the problem, to back to my original point about flip side, is like you want to see the team separating from this tier, from this middle tier. Like Parcha's maybe at the front end of the middle tier, and they were able to get some good wins and play some close losses. But when you look at how Fury or Riot performed against the middle tier teams, we're used to the powerhouses, the semifinals teams drawing a clear line. And maybe it's a good sign for the division if that isn't going to happen anymore. But certainly, like Fury and Brute Squad are doing their part to draw a clear line.
Bent makes semis, but in some ways, perhaps because they got the Kelp matchup in quarters. They lose to Fury, they lose to Brute, they lose to Riot, they lose to Scandal. Does that feel like where they stand right now? I should note that they also whomped BFD Shout, a very good team, 15-7. That game was streamed. Ben looked incredible in that game. They're pretty good, Keith. I just don't know if they're going to quite have what it takes to get up to that next tier.
Yeah, well, we can give them their world player tax. I mean, they're missing their Colombian contingent, which will add some extra firepower, some pop.
For sure.
When Amy Jo has 14 assists, like some share of that's going back to Yida Cartagena. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be a lot easier. So I think that mostly this is a good sign for Pop. Or for Ben, excuse me. We're expecting them to take the step forward. So the bar is pretty high for what it's going to take for them to feel like they had a successful season, achieve that. I don't know if they're quite there yet, but I think these are signs in the right direction. Now, the fact that there's another team like Riot doing that at the same time, potentially taking their slot, that's not great. But otherwise, I think this is a B plus weekend for Ben.
I gave my thoughts on Riot. What are yours? And then we'll move divisions.
The Philadelphia 76er style process, the Oklahoma Thunder here are finally coming, getting their due for this, right? The investments are finally paying off, because you're seeing Carly Campana and Kate
Diamond
Lanier,
hands,
right? Steph Phillips, like these players are stepping up into being strong elite club players, and it took a while for everything to come together, but yeah, diamond hands. They look the real deal. I still think there's work to be done for people to be like, oh, okay, they are a potential favorite to make a semifinal spot, but you got to put them in the mix right now. And the play of their handlers in particular, I think, looked really strong over this past weekend or past 3 days.
Let's move to the mixed division. As I would say I expected, Hybrid takes down the US Open. This Hybrid team came as a 7th seed, but they're the best team in the division. And I think they showed it this weekend. Pretty big wins. They beat Austin Disco Club in the finals. They'd beaten them earlier in the weekend. 3-goal win over Dragon Thrust. Big wins over Sprocket and Slow. Just very much in control. Jonathan Mast looking phenomenal in the backfield. Aaron Bartlett's been great, as we know. Rachel Mast, unbelievable line this weekend. 10 goals, 6 assists, 5 blocks, just 1 turnover. They're super deep. they're the team to beat, Keith. And this, the early season stuff was meaningless. I think this is the hybrid to expect moving forward.
Producer Sue, can you run that back? Did I mishear Charlie? He said this is the team I expected to be in the front, because one of us picked hybrid to win this tournament, and it wasn't Charlie Eisenhood. So I don't know what he's talking about. He had shame winning. So don't ask me about who I had
Yikes.
hybrid playing in the final, but I don't want to hear this pro hybrid. I'm planting the pro hybrid flag. Thank you.
Very fair. I kind of took a little shame home field advantage. It did not work out. Hybrid has been my preseason number one. They're the team I expect to win the national championships, go back to back. But yeah, fair enough, Keith. Fair enough.
That's all fair. I think that this is the hybrid team we expected when the season started. They look really deep. They have just like, I feel like you could name like 2/3 of the roster for players who felt like they're playing well or could have a big
Yes.
impact on a game. Like Abe Kaufman has been a great addition to the team. Andy Mylink was making some big plays, particularly in the final. McKenna Mattimore has taken big steps forward over these past 2 seasons. They feel like the total package right now. I struggle to think of what would need to happen in the regular season for me to not pick them to win nationals right now.
Oh yeah, I agree. I mean, it's just like they won last year. They've only gotten better. And I don't really just feel like other teams are talented enough to beat them. I don't know who's
And
going to beat them. Like where do you go?
Interestingly though, it wasn't like they like dominated the final. It felt like they were always in front, even near the end, where Disco Club brought it back to even. But it always kind of felt like they were on the front foot in that game. But so I guess on the other hand, like even though we're singing their praises, they certainly have had low points this season, and they were not crushing Disco Club in the final. So I don't know exactly what to make of that. Maybe Disco Club's just good. Uh, I'm not really sure that I necessarily buy that position yet. But the Hybrid's the only team that beat Disco Club all weekend. So
I mean, I think Disco Club's just good. I think it's as simple
say
as
more.
that. I mean, they only lost to Hybrid this weekend.
Right.
Now they had a lot of close games. But I just think that I think generally, I feel like people underrate Texas players, like kind of across the board. Feels like U.S. coaching staffs, national team coaching staff. Maybe because there's like not a ton of
You're
notable college teams. I am not drinking the Kool-Aid. Like what? Like Joey Wiley is an awesome player, and he had an awesome weekend. And they have depth. I mean, like, Maddie Cannon, Reese Bowman, Lexi Zalk joining this team is a big addition. She goes for 8 goals, 5 assists, and 5 blocks. Caroline Stone, like the role players on this team are like notable college stars. So to me, I just think they're good. Like they don't have those like big names, but like they are deep and talented. And I'm not surprised that they did well this weekend. Now, are they so good that they're going to cruise to semis at nationals? No. I think they certainly played enough close games this weekend that you could see them lose games. But they have the talent to hang at the very top of the mixed division for sure.
David in the YouTube chat takes issue, I guess, with you saying no significant college teams. But what exactly has Tough done lately? I don't know. I think I'm kind of with you on this.
I mean, like, I know that there's been some history, but like, we haven't seen much from the state for a while. Like UT Dallas made it to nationals in the women's division, but they were not a top team. I'm not being a hater. I'm acknowledging that other people do not believe that these players are good, and I disagree with that. And I think that's why people are like, whoa, Disco Club. Well, like they have a lot of talented players on their roster. We shouldn't be shocked.
And they were super good last year. It wasn't until the last minute that things kind of fell apart. Like I think Joey Wiley would have been like a lock for all club if Disco Club hadn't flamed out at nationals. Like, he's clearly, I think, one of the best players in the mixed division. Miles Armstrong, the youngster, the kid, in the call up, and he's playing well. There's still
Yep.
more Matty Cannon. I mean, they look legit. I always want to see some level of consistency from the mixed division teams before I get too excited, but they're being able to run with hybrid in both those games is still a pretty strong sign.
Let's talk about Shame. They dropped games. They open up their tournament with a kind of like a ugly loss to Rally. They beat Exist. They lose to Disco Club and BFG. They do beat Rally in a consolation game. They just don't seem quite right though, Keith. I mean, this is not a championship contender right now. And I feel like they're missing like that really kind of core offensive handler that Owen Westbrook was for them, and that he's no longer on this roster. And it doesn't seem like they've figured out how to handle that. They've got a lot of talent on the roster, but I just don't know that they have that next level ability to keep the offense, getting off the field clean. And it's causing them to look more like a middle of the pack type of team.
I think I would diagnose them less missing like the main handler and more missing the connective piece between the handlers and their great athletes. Aubrey Dietrich and Blaise Sevier and their gigantic guys, what is Sam Goldstein and Thomas Brewster. I can never tell the two apart. Casey Anderson, they have Rory Velman, I feel like operating more in the backfield now. Sarah Ito, like they have targets for Rory Velman and Simon Montague and Maddie Russell to hit. It just feels like they're missing that like really dynamic isolation, win the matchup and continue downfield player. They just have a lot of finishers and a lot of throwers. That's what it feels like to me. And I didn't even mention, speaking of finishers, Jay McLaughlin, like Jesus, like elite finisher. But I feel like they need the connective piece right now. And maybe that's something you can push a player into that role. Like maybe Rory Velman needs to be doing more of that. But that they do feel, it also feels like there's a like lack of urgency. I mean, maybe that's it's August issue, but I don't know. I didn't feel like they were playing with a big sense of urgency either.
Michael Wilson in the chat, just apropos of nothing. Ultimate was so much faster and more competitive in the 80s and 90s. Oh, the plumbers and farmers era. so competitive, so fast, such athletes.
Wow, you're just dunking right now.
I mean, I just watched YCC finals. It's like 15 mile per hour headwind. These kids are so athletic. They're throwing flick hucks 65 yards upwind on a rope. Like, promise you that wasn't happening in the 80s and 90s.
You're 100% right. It's a real boomer. Yeah, this is Charles Barkley saying like LeBron would hack it. Old guys being like LeBron couldn't hack in our era. It was too physical. Come on.
Max Charles says bait. I took it.
You took it too. You took it and brought it onto the show. Said when everybody else likes a bait.
What? So any other thoughts? I mean, there's the mixed division is still a mishmash. I mean, I thought Rally looked great, but then they kind of get spanked in quarters by Slow. And they end up losing all of their games after that opener win against Shame. They get blown out by BFG. And I watched that first game. I was like, wow, like Rally looks so good. They're gonna have a great weekend. Psych, they don't win again. Slow at times looked sharp, at times got crushed. Dragon overall maybe played about like you would expect, like pretty good. They look like a semis contender to me, but they do lose to Hybrid and Disco. So I don't know, Keith. I still feels a little muddy, but I do feel like the top end is clarifying for me after this weekend.
It's definitely muddy. I mean, you didn't even mention BFG. They go 5-1, but they lose to Dragon in their like most important game of the weekend. And so all of a sudden,
Right.
it like feels like they didn't do well because they lost in quarters.
Right.
And they made a lot of mistakes in that game. But they still look pretty good. I mean, they are this weird combination of young players like Naomi Fina and Ben Bolin and Kali Mott, and then like these longtime stalwarts like Jeff Pape, and it makes for kind of a weird group, which it feels a little like ideal mixed, I guess, in some ways. Like that's what the mixed division sometimes is. But there's a lot of talent that feels a little untapped into right now. Julia Hasbrook, Aaron Wolf. This is an interesting team, and I think that they're getting a little swept under the rug by losing in quarters, but they still have the makings, I think, of like being one of the best challengers to hybrid.
I think that's totally
And that's all
fair.
without Mika Karashi.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of things change when you start adding all these World Games players back to the mix. Really interesting division overall. I mean, I feel like a lot of the teams here showed the capacity to be really good and fight for a bracket spot at nationals. But, who's going to show up in October? I think it's hard to predict right now what's going to happen in the mixed division. Let's go to the men's division.
Words nobody's ever said.
Yeah, that's the truth. San Francisco Revolver comes away title winners, and really exciting division, really competitive, top to bottom. So nice to have some really strong international sides in the mix. Truck and Revolver separating from the pack. They make the final, and Revolver gets the win over Truck after losing to them earlier in the weekend by the same scoreline, 15-13. Just want to note right off the bat, we had 3-team pools, and because of that, we ended up with a situation where there could have been a 3-way tie at 1-1 with 3 teams all playing the exact same score diff against each other. So like basically a perfect, 0-0-0 point diff situation. And so the resolution for that, Keith, is that if the second game in a pool finishes with the team that won the first round losing the second round by the same score margin that they played in the first game, that they won by in the first game, they then play a tiebreaker point after the game is over. So this happened in the men's division. There was a tiebreaker point played. It didn't end up mattering, but I just thought that was like a crazy little piece of ultimate trivia that I never knew this was a tiebreaker. It makes sense. And so they play this 16th point that doesn't matter. It doesn't include it in the scoreline, but it comes up if they go to a tiebreaker, which is just a little wild piece of trivia about the U.S.
Evan
Open.
Lepler said that it's being referred to as the ghost point because it's like the point that wasn't really there. Does anything you do, does that go on this? Like, it doesn't go on the USAU stats. Does it go on your team stats? You just go out there and sling the rock, and the stats will never know.
It was a Truck and Revolver played this point. Do you know
Correct
who won the ghost point? I don't actually know if I heard. I just know that was played.
I did at the time, but I forget then once it became irrelevant
because it didn't matter.
I remember coming into the production truck to tell you who had it in case it came up, but then it ended up not mattering.
Wild. That pool was awesome. Revolver, Clapham, and Truck. Games 15-13, 15-13, 15-14. Good stuff. Keith, your thoughts on Revolver in a weekend where San Francisco and the Bay Area certainly looking really strong across the entire tournament, not just U.S. Open, but also YCCs.
Albert Chu in the chat says Truck scored the ghost point.
Nice.
I do you want the full thoughts on just the Bay, or do you want me to talk about?
You can give me your Bay thoughts. Give me your Bay thoughts.
Well, I don't.
Revolver wins.
I don't want to go to. Let's come back to the Bay thing.
Okay,
let's come back to that.
We'll do.
Let's start with what matters the most. I picked Revolver over Truck, and that's what happened. And that needs to be the headline here. I got all the winners at US Open right, and this was the one division where I got both the finalists right. Charlie got none of the winners right, and only got 2 finalists right, although they were the Bay teams. All that said, now that the important stuff is out of the way, very impressive weekend for both of these teams.
Hang on really quick. Did I really not pick Fury?
You picked Brute over Fury, is what I have written down.
God, disaster weekend of picks. Okay.
You had Moon over Revolver for the record, which wasn't like really that
I stand by my
base.
Moon pick. I'm happy about my Moon pick. I don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah. You can't pick a Moon team over a team whose logo is an eclipse, right? You just, or some sort of, I guess that's what's happening in the Revolver images. I don't know. Anyway, joke aside, very close games for a lot of these teams, but I think it felt like Revolver and Truck were the best teams in the men's division at the tournament. But we're in a healthy place in the men's division. Like it's a very competitive top end. It doesn't feel like teams are invincible. It's really going to come down to, Charlie always says, to matchups, but I think it's also going to come down to just like who brings it at the right time. You know, who is up to the task when it matters the most. I came away very impressed with both of these teams though. And for Revolver to be able to go out there and, you know, they're missing Michael Ing. They didn't feel like quite like a finished product by any means, but they look really good. And that was what was expected. We expected this team to continue to take steps forward with all the success they've had the last 2 seasons with this young core. And you're seeing those players evolve into being the type of players who can really put their mark in the club division. You're seeing Dexter Clyburn and Raekwon Atkins and Leo Gordon and Mac Hecht and Walker Frankenberg. You're seeing them rise to being names that people need to know.
Yeah. I mean, you have some really good core Revolver players, you know, who have been on the team for 10 years, like Eli Kearns, who are still really solid players. You got, you know, mid-career guys like Adam Reese, who are super strong. I mean, you know, Reese goes for 11 goals, 6 assists in just 3 turns. And but you're completely right. Like this young group coming in, so talented and like making a real difference. And they have some serious bulldogs out there on defense too. So, I mean, I've been increasingly high on this Revolver team. They for sure feel like a semis locked me at this point. They have 1 loss on the season to Truck, which they avenge in the final. And, you know, they still didn't even play with Michael Ing this weekend, who's arguably their best player. So I feel like Revolver, I don't know where I put the like sort of power rankings for who's going to win the Nationals right now, but Revolver might be number 1. They might be number 1.
I think you'd be justified in saying that, but it would be hard to place a bet on anybody as a big favorite right now. You know, whether it's Revolver or Truck or Pony, who, you know, lost by 1 to Revolver and then also had a loss to Mooncatchers. Maybe you're buying that Dig or
and was missing 2 of their very best players.
Who cares about Machine this weekend or Rhino? Like maybe you're like, oh, who cares what they did this weekend? Because once they get everybody back, it's going to be different. And Dig, like, I mean, there's a large group of credible title winners in this division right now.
I completely agree. I mean, I think I still keep Machine in the mix, but they were embarrassing this weekend.
Yeah, you can.
Like, I know they didn't have
both of those ideas at once, I think.
Yeah. You know, they open up the first day. They lose 15-12 to Chain, 15-12 to Mooncatchers. And they look like they were sleepwalking through it. And then they just completely get destroyed by Johnny Bravo, 15-8. Awful. And like they were running like super open lines. They were running D guys on O points. They were playing without Don Desmarais. They were playing without Bontom. Like, you know, Joe White is maybe not going to be back this season. It's kind of like the latest rumor is that he's not going to be ready to go by the time we get to Nationals. I think, you know, they're a good team, but without Joe White, I'm not sure I fully believe that they can win the Nationals, especially after what we saw this weekend, where they look like they were kind of going through the motions.
Yeah, it was their first tournament of the year. They have a big core of players that are probably thinking about UFA, which we're going to be talking about shortly. But
I agree.
I can't. I can't decide
That's why I'm
if
keeping them around in the conversation.
right. I can't decide if they came into this weekend with that mindset that they were just going to phone it in because that's where they're at in the year and they're confident and they know when they bring it all together it's going to be fine, or if that was like a defense mechanism. like
Yeah.
like I don't want to
Yeah.
be embarrassed by what we just did, so maybe we just didn't care the whole time and then no big deal. It was not a good. This is both a performance that I don't think is reflective of what you can expect from this team in the long term, and a really bad and somewhat embarrassing showing.
Yeah. I mean, Emmett, who was on site reporting this weekend in the men's division for Ulti World, points out in the chat that they were also missing Sam McGuckin. They were missing Rutledge Smith. I think there's a reason they're going to get a pass, but it didn't feel like they were necessarily like playing to win with the roster they had, if that makes sense. And, if you want to take a development focused approach, that's fair enough. But like, this is the US Open and you're going to be judged on that. I still think
Yeah,
at the end of the day, they're
Jack.
one of the most talented teams in the division and they could win nationals. They could.
I hope Jack Gall is getting the call up from practice player to the roster. He earned it. He earned it at the US Open. It's like a little Jacob Janin clone. Get this man a roster spot.
That's a nice play. I mean, Keegan North played well this weekend, I thought. It's not like they don't have good like individual stat lines here and there. Just like as a team, they were not sharp and they didn't feel like they were really like focused on trying to win the games, which fair enough, but you don't get so many opportunities. Let's see how they do in UFA.
It's not even that. It's that their goal, I'm sure, like they weren't. There's no real incentive for them to come out and like trying to win the games. But even if you're the team that's like, well, we're not really focused on winning. We're focused on the process. The process sucked. Like, get better process.
Woke is dead. Let's see. There were so many fun teams to talk about this weekend. Truck looked great, Keith. I was super impressed with their play this weekend. They do drop 2 games. They lose to Dig. They lose to Revolver. And then they played a bunch of the international teams. They played Clapham, Lafota, and Mooncatchers. I wonder how they feel about that. Because they're great reps against good teams, but they don't see most of the other top contenders. So kind of an interesting weekend overall for them. But man, Alexandre Fall, what a monster weekend he had.
Yeah, break out of the weekend for sure.
And of course, as you already mentioned, Boxley, it's I feel like even more than ever that it's a real shame he's not going to be playing for the U.S. in the World Games next week because he looks like
what a revenge
one of the
tour.
best players.
I mean, he really might be number 1 in our club player rankings when it comes down to it, and not be on TVSA, which is.
And can we talk about Sean Mott, who just was unbelievable this weekend? 17 assists, 4 goals, 4 turns.
I refuse. I want to talk about other things because there are other things to talk about. I mean, Sean Mott was great, but that's what was fun about this team is that they were getting it. Like Sean Mott. How about Aiden Downey?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He looks like I started comparing him to taking the Rowan role. Someone who can both operate as a point man in coming under and continuing to run the offense. He's a creative thrower, but he can go downfield and he can show off some springs. He had like 6 or 7 goals in one of the games we had on stream. He fits that role well.
So well. I mean, he's a big addition. I mean, I think in some ways you could argue that him joining this roster is the difference between them taking a step back and not when they lose Johnny Malks. Now, obviously, they're not the same player at all, but Downey is offering them some offensive pop in a different way. And we rolled a package of him scoring just because he had that game you're talking about where he had all those goals. I just felt like he was like just wide open in the end zone all the time. he led the team in goals this weekend, and it just seemed like he was constantly open. Uh, really good timing, really smart player overall, and I think just a massive addition to this team.
Yeah, and they get their world's tax. No Thomas Edmonds. I think they're also missing a Cole Jurek. But yeah, they had a pretty impressive group. And you know what? Maybe small ball is dead because they were letting him go
They were
this weekend.
they were sending it.
Coach Lauren Boyle was like, "All right, let's full send because this is not last year's truck stop." That's the deal. Is they're going to be a little more aggressive, and I think they know that the book was on them was playing small ball, and everybody's trying to deal with that, and that's maybe not who this team is. They still can like that. They still have the tools to utilize that, but they also have Miles Grovic and Sean Mott can boost it, and Alexandre Fall. Like they have some horses, so like might as well let them out the stable.
Yeah, they looked great. What do you make? So Pony's been the other big, talk. Of course, no Kocher, no Brownlee this weekend, out for World Games. But Ben Dameron looked unbelievable for them. Durs
Speaking of
playing
revenge
great.
course,
John Randolph playing amazing. John Randolph didn't have an assigned turnover this weekend. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But 10 assists, 7 goals, 5 blocks, no turns. That's a pretty good stat line. They go 4-2. They lose by 1 to Revolver, and they lose by 4 to Mooncatchers. What do you think of Pony's chances? Like, is this with their World Games guys? This is still a championship contender for sure, right?
they'll definitely be tier one. I mean, I'm curious to see how they deploy the personnel once everybody's together. Like, are they really going to run out Ben Dameron, Durs, Sam Little, Chris Kocher, and JR all on the same line? Like, is that like basically like 5 or 6 of the same guy? Is there going to be a little bit like where do you put Harper Garvey then? Who's the big? Where's Ben Yacht going? I'm curious to see how the lines come together. Once everything's said and done, I think maybe you'll see Jr. be out there on defense. But Scott Heyman, this is a title contender. I think you need to have them tier one. Once everything comes together. That said, I saw like maybe them play 3 points at the U.S. Open, but Dameron and Durs is just such an electrifying addition to this team.
If you haven't seen it already, do not miss Truck Moon semifinal. It's available now for UltiWorld subscribers. It is going to go up later this week on our YouTube channel. There's a game recap up right now. Keith, what an unbelievable game. Game of the year so far for me. And just so much fun to watch that Mooncatchers team when they're locked in and focused. They were really, really solid and came up 2 points shy to a recent U.S. champion. Damaray, Bon Tom, Ben Yonkers, Ref Yonkers, Arvids Karklins, all just fantastic. And how
They
about
put on a
David
good show.
Barzasi too?
Yeah, Barzasi, Bon Tom and Barzasi and Karklins all came up with some really big plays. And, guys who maybe aren't as talked about, who had some really good moments, Jerome DeRitter or Arthur Feller, Spa Holtz, the big man. This is a big team, big athletic team. To me, they're clearly still unrefined. This is they're kind of a brute force squad still. I know they're working on it. They're like trying to become a little more dialed in, but I feel like they get away with a lot of stuff by just being a big, strong team with some great athletes who can chuck it around. And having Don Desmarais. That works for you. Not to say that's not a legitimate way to play. I think they would be competitive in the U.S. circuit. I don't think that they would like really be a title. I wouldn't have them a tier 1 team in the U.S. circuit, but like behind that, yeah. And they were a ton of fun to watch. I'm really glad that they were
so
there.
much fun. Well, we interviewed them in the machine game. I think we talked to Don after the game. And he was basically like, yeah, we were like trying to work the unders in the first half, and it wasn't really working. We weren't doing that well. So he said, you know what, let's just send it. And then they just rolled in the second half. I mean, it's just a team that's more comfortable throwing to their big athletes, and why not? They have some of the best, biggest athletes in the division, And, they were a couple of like small errors away from beating Truck Stop. And like the difference is maybe like Alexandre Fall making that crazy block and then getting bookends. Like those couple of moments where the truck got breaks um, was the difference between two very, very even teams, I thought.
And I do think that, like, for an example of them being underdefined, they're one of the few teams that I saw like have multiple coverage sacks, like in a have them against them. Like there were multiple times where they like just didn't know where to throw. Like they were like, we have nowhere to go. Let's just put it up there. And so
Right.
that's stuff that you can iron out over time. The talent level is definitely there.
Uh, what else to discuss from this weekend? You want to touch on any other teams?
Um, I just want to think like over the entirety of the tournament, all divisions, teams really struggled, I thought, with the conditions. Uh, the combination of the wind and the thin air, I think, led to a lot of execution errors, particularly on long throws. A lot of throws where people thought they could bend the disc at the end of its flight in a way that it just doesn't in those conditions. Uh, so played at sea level, I think there's a chance that like there's some fairly significant changes to the results of this tournament just based on like a throw by throw basis from people trying to throw throws with edge that it just holds too much at the end of its flight. It's so hard. So I think that is like a thing that's really difficult to actually assess, like what specifically would have been different. But if you went back through the tape, I think you could probably find some examples pretty easily. And it felt like it affected across all three club divisions and obviously over YCC.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's kind of one of your big takeaways. I mean, I think it's really difficult to show up to altitude and undo the muscle memory that you have from throwing at sea level because like even as you dial in before a game, it's just like on longer throws, you're going to have a certain like release point that you're pretty used to, and you're used to getting a certain amount of flip up on the disc, and it's just not happening the same way at altitude. And it's you're going to have those errors. But I don't know. I felt like the level of play was actually pretty good this weekend. I mean, there were some turnover heavy games, especially in like the really good defensive teams in the women's division just turned it into the other team's offense into disaster fest at times. But overall, I thought it was like a really fun weekend of games, and teams look like they're improving and not yet in their final form, especially with the missing players. But I enjoyed the weekend, even if it doesn't feel like, winning this tournament actually like means anything.
Boba in the chat asks what we think about Diggs weekend. I mean, they did go 5-1 with their only loss being by 2 to Revolver. That'll play. On paper, that's a pretty good weekend. What'd you think of Dig?
Well, in the limited action that I saw from them, they look good. I still I don't know. I have a hard time buying them as like a championship team, but I'm not sure if that's fair or not. Like, I know a lot of these players are going to be playing for the Boston Glory this weekend in the UFA, and I'm really curious to watch that game and start to feel like I want to see them play in some big spots. Um, they're good. They're really good. Orion Cable is fantastic. And just not I feel like they're like border semis feels like they're ceiling to me. What do you think?
Unfortunately, the only game that I watched of them was them just rolling over Mooncatchers in the third place game, where their young D line really got to take off. I think that's an interesting group. I commented during the game that like seeing Peter Berth and Oscar Graf come into their own as offensive players adds a new wrinkle to their D line because they can let those guys drive the action after the turn, and they already have strong defenders. So I'll be curious to see how that group develops. In particular, their offense, the Calvin Stoughton, Toby DeCrana connection, those two got a lot of chemistry. So I think that those are two players who you're going to see get better and better together over the course of the season. Cable, Babbitt, the big men, like they're going to do their big men thing. I'm sure that makes life easier for like Gavin Abramson to run around, but I think the key to them is going to be how does their young D line play, and how much can they get out of Toby DeCrona, because he feels like a bit of the rule breaker, the spark plug for their O line.
He's fantastic, and if we get fully healthy Babbitt at Nationals, listen, he's still as fearsome as they get as a player. Hey, check this out, Keith. Sports Center top 10 last night, sometime yesterday. Number one play on Sports Center from the boys U20 final at YCC's. Great defensive play, better offense. What a play. Unfortunately, it didn't end up being enough in the game as Oakland went on to win, Keith. Let's do a quick jog through the YCC results. Smoke winning 15-13 over SEPTA. A really well played game, I thought. Notably a key injury. It's been a kind of a discussion today in the Ulti World Discord. Nolan McClintock gets rolled up by Reggie Maskett by Smoke on a bid through the back. Tweaks his Achilles, can't play the rest of the game. McClintock might have been their best cutter. Maskett got a yellow card, but continued playing the game. Actually had a really good game, played great. And Smoke, I thought was kind of the favorite, but I really wonder what would have happened there. Any thoughts on yellow versus red card and those kinds of situations? That's been the chat today in the Discord.
That play specifically, clear yellow in my mind. You've got to pull the card out there.
Easy called. I mean, there's no question it's a card.
Yeah, especially even as a warning, but you got to pull the card out. And not a great play, bad play. But it's unfortunate that it resulted in the injury that it did. I do think it had a not negligible impact on the game. But overall, this Smoke team, Sark Malaretti was a real problem. I mean, Maskett did have a great game, but Malaretti and Stefan McCall, and Sulik Dotman, they were all really putting in work. Smoke, it's interesting to have seen this program rise, because I think a lot of times you see a team like this come up and their first like really strong teams like had Raekwon Atkins and Cole Myers and stuff, and you might have thought that those guys would graduate and the team would fall off. But I think it's a real credit to the community that team has maintained its strength and continues to be one of the strongest teams in YCC boys play.
Yeah, I mean, SEPTA was very good. Ezra Badler-Shank, Becker Joseph, I thought played really well. Joel Simon getting number one on Sports Center and had some big energy plays for them. That game was very close. Could have gone either way. Smoke able to punch in some upwind breaks early and often. And SEPTA's O-line able to then go score upwind a bunch of times in a row. And they hung around, but ultimately not quite enough in the end to go back to back. So they fall this time around. And Oakland keeping the Bay Area weekend alive, Keith. More on that later. In the mixed division, Minnesota
EMF
Superior.
Wait. EMF says that there's the haters are out in the Sports Center chat. the Sports Center comments are hating on the play. Don't hate on the kids. Come on.
Let's be honest. We're getting number one on Sports Center because it's August. And the only other stuff they've got to put on there is baseball, Little League, and like random stuff. And we're some of the random stuff. So obviously people are going to hate. That was a great play. Great defensive play, great offensive play.
My wife's parents are those people who watch Little League. Like they have no association with it.
Hey,
they get excited to watch it every year.
Little League World Series is awesome.
How about the greatest that wasn't too? So close.
Oh,
that could have been the Sports Center number one play.
That would have been awesome.
But alas, here we are.
Fun game. I didn't watch the mixed game. Minnesota Superior wins 14-11 over Philly Forge. Philly having a moment, huh? Superior, really good team. I liked what I saw from them. We watched them in quarters against Madison. They won that game 15-11. Danny Hobday, as good as advertised. Walter Hips, fantastic. You know, deep team. They kind of they use their whole roster. And I was surprised that they beat Oregon, but what a win there, 14-13. And on they go to the finals where they win the whole thing. After coming up so close last year, they lost by a goal last year in the finals.
A few of the players that I think were some of the top players on this team were players I was familiar with from high school. Hobday and Walter Hips. But Audrey Pohl, player that stood out to me, is having a lot of tools to be a really exciting prospect down the line. Really tall, but also really capable thrower, good athlete. Yeah. I've talked about Kalani Hoyt. She's great. It's a young player, going to get better. Super excited. But Minnesota, Philly, and Oakland, I feel like are the Bay are the places that everybody's going to be hyped about after this weekend. I mean, Minnesota and Philly had really good respective YCC showings.
Quick note on boys division 2, Madison Mufabots wins it. So they split YCC in the boys division into 2. So there's like a whole separate division you couldn't play up, but there's like a promotion relegation now. So presumably Madison's boys team in the U20 division will move up into D1, and some of the bottom finishers in D1 will drop down into D2 next year. So, hey, you got to go out there and play well. I like this system.
Getting feedback on this is going to be a key thing, because this was a big topic going into this U20, this YCC cycle. Like, this was a big part of the survey. Prior was getting teams more competition against teams at their level instead of having a bunch of lopsided games. So getting feedback on this is going to be a key thing to watch if you're into the youth scene.
And then in the girls division, U20, Seven Hills out of Seattle wins it. A capstone victory for Chloe Hakimi in her final youth appearance. She's won it all, folks. She won a high school national invite title this year. She wins YCC. She's won at the U20 and U24 levels, and now she's going to college, Keith. What an unbelievable youth career for one of the most exciting prospects we've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, she should not be allowed to play. Come on. When you've been on the U24 national team, you should not be able to come back and play at YCCs. They had enough with Nora Luloff and Vivian Akimi. Yeah. They did not need Chloe Akimi out there.
I was just going to say, she might not have been their best player this weekend. I think that goes to Nora Luloff, who has 17 goals and 11 assists on the weekend. Probably the star of the final against Oregon Downpour. A tight game. 14-11 final score, and Luloff was unbelievable. And I feel like we're going to see a lot more from her too. She's rising senior at Garfield. Expect her to lead them to HSNI and maybe even be in the title contender conversation.
Yeah, she's a practice player on Riot. So yeah, she's definitely one of the next players in line from the Seattle scene, along with Lily DeJoya, if you want to start jotting down the names to remember for later. But I was impressed by the depth of this team. I kind of thought, when push came to shove, it was going to be like, all right, everybody get out of the way. Let's let Viv and Chloe carry us to victory and Nora Luloff. But it never felt like that. I mean, they did not feel like they really relied on those players to drive the action for them. And a lot of their other players were pretty impressive with the disc as decision makers, as throwers, Sydney Belfiore or Sonia Snyder. Joyce Wee came up with some big plays. Julia Coco had a lot of offensive responsibility. They have a pretty, it's not shocking to say that they have a great scene there, but this group was a lot deeper than I had anticipated and never really, broke glass in case of emergency to just let their top players dominate in a way that I thought they might.
Yeah. I mean, at no point did it look like they were going to lose this tournament. They were out in front the whole time, including in the final against a very good Oregon team. U17, really quick. In the girls division, Minnesota wins over the Orcas out of Seattle. And then in the boys division, it was Oakland Sparks winning over Buda out of Boston, 13-11. So really nice weekend for the Bay Area boys, both U20 and U17 taking it down.
Absolutely. I mean, the Bay's hyped right now. I see Bay dance trends on TikTok, and I see Bay winning tournaments out here.
All right, we're gonna go to break. I'm gonna go get some packs to crack, and we're gonna show some U.S. Open highlights right now. We'll be back in just a moment on Deep Look. Stay with us. '25 World Games U.S. National Team trading cards. I've got 3 packs. Should I save one in case it becomes worth $1 million someday, Keith? Put it on ice?
Sure. Or any Marquez Brownlee card, I guess you get.
Yeah, right? Max is in the chat. I better be wearing rubber gloves. I mean, I don't know. Like,
do you not have?
I'll save a pack.
Do you not have the above hand cam so you can like open them cautiously?
I do not. I'm not ready for this.
You ever seen the video of the guy opening the Black Lotus, and he's just like, he like kind of predicts it, and then he opens it, and he's just like has this reaction. His like hands are shaking. Black Lotus being the most
awesome.
Valuable Magic card in the world.
Is it still number 1?
I'm sure it is. I'm going off of just assumptions, but I see no reason why it wouldn't be.
Pick 1, 2, or 3, Keith.
Let's go 3.
3?
Yeah.
Right. We're doing it. So what does it say? 7 player cards, including 1 Girls Ultimate Movement Celebration card. Okay. So here we go. So I think you're supposed to do it like where you hold it, you show one at a time, right? So it's like this.
Yes. Yeah. You show one at a time.
Okay. Try to get a light out of that shot. Is it in focus?
We got a Dylan Freechild.
Dylan Freechild.
We got a Brett Holzmeyer. Michael Ing with disc.
With a disc. Oh, yeah.
We need the whole set. I need both things. You got to get the
Claire
set.
Trope.
They get more powerful together. Claire Trope.
Kayla. McKenna.
Number 13. I always love a 13 shirt.
Oh, got the gum special signed Henry Ing card.
Wait, is that actually a special edition? Or is that the standard Henry Ing card?
I mean, everybody gets a gum one, I think.
Oh, okay. Got it.
But I mean, like, this is the fancy. Like, they didn't do the hollow, right? I want this to be hologram.
I want them all to have power and toughness.
Got the little facts about him. Got the birthday, occupation, hometown. He's from Morristown, New Jersey. National team appearances. I think this is a pretty cool thing, Keith. What do you think?
I think so too. I wish they had their like Madden style ratings on the back of like their attributes.
Yeah.
Or at least like their stuff that they're good at.
PER.
Or what's the little diagram where it has the like star that like extends out based on how good you are in that category. It's something like that. It could be fun.
Oh,
No, this is a great idea, especially adding the game to it.
David P says no ASMR of the pack crinkling. I'm unsubscribing. Let me give it to you now. There you go.
Yeah, you got to get the crinkle in there. It's like honestly,
Max $250 PSA 10 for sure. There it is. Hey, if you want any of these, hit me up in DMs and maybe I'll send one out to you. I got to save a couple of these packs.
Does it have a fresh pack smell? When I played Magic like that, there was a certain like aroma of freshness to like opening
I would
up a
say
new
it's
pack.
very neutral smelling. No scent.
Okay.
But a fun idea. I mean, the kids were going around. I feel like it wasn't as much of a smash success as they were hoping. I saw there were like still packs available at the end of the weekend. I mean, I came into these. I did not pay for these. They were just around. But there were kids who were into it, and I think it's a really like fun idea.
Great idea. I fully support it. I think it's a fun way to connect the kids and the players, but also like, make you feel like a little bit of star building. And I gotta say, I don't know if you saw the YouTube videos that USA Ultimate put out with like little individual player get to
Nice.
know interview things. Like those are good. Like this is a great. We have spent plenty of time denigrating the social media presence of USA Ultimate. So let me give them their props. Whoever's running it, you're doing a great job right now. It's some great World Game stuff. Looking forward to what comes out from the future stuff. I actually have some World Games stuff to tell you.
Let's go.
Announce. I think I'm at the point where we can make this official. I'm like 99% sure it's going to happen in this manner. But we're going to run Fantasy Ultimate for the World Games. But this is for the first time ever. You're going to be able to draft against your friends. You will be able to create your own mini Fantasy Ultimate League using the World Games players. Customize how many players you want on each roster, how many teams you have. We'll track all the scoring for you. All you got to do is type in who drafts which player into the spreadsheet. So more to come that'll be officially on the site, hopefully later today. At worst, I think early tomorrow. But it's been tested, so I think everything's working, and we can bring this out. All you do is you copy the spreadsheet, and then you run the draft. I'll have in Discord. I'll have a place where subscribers can go ahead and organize drafts if you want to find some other people to draft against. But we will officially, for the first time ever, have basically fantasy leagues that you can run for the World Games.
Hype. I'm so excited for World Games. We've got a lot of coverage planned. Programming note for this podcast. So I am going to Chengdu on Saturday. I get in late Sunday night into China. And so we will be doing a pod on Monday morning Eastern time. It will be Monday night, the day before competition starts in China. I'll be in Chengdu. Keith will be on the East Coast, and we're going to do, hopefully, a fully normal live pod just focused on World Games preview. That's all we're doing. We're getting ready for the World Games. Games start on Tuesday morning, which is Monday night on the U.S. Okay, so I think the first game is at like 9 p.m. I think it's either 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll put out an article with all of the details, how to watch, all that stuff. If you Google World Games Live, you can find the website, make an account. They have a mobile app as well that you can watch games on. It's all free, and there should be streams of every game, at least of all the pool play plus the bracket games. I don't know about consolation. So, for whatever reason, like I waited a long time to talk about this, but now it's like we're a week away and I'm about to leave. So might as well talk about it. Myself and Robin Fennig are going to be over there commentating on the games. We do not know who the play-by-play person is going to be. It is going to be randomly assigned. We don't know who this person is. We don't know when we're going to meet them. There's a lot of question marks right now about the coverage, but from what I've heard about the camera complement and how they're planning to do it, it should be good. I obviously I do a lot of Ultimate producing these days, and so I'm going to do my best to be helpful with nudging the producer in the right direction with things like camera angles and replay choices and that kind of stuff. Feel free to contact me if you have any suggestions about anything. What else to know? We're going to be doing analysis articles on every single game. We're going to be doing full box scores with stato and yardage metrics on every single game. There's going to be recap coverage. Keith and I are going to be doing live bonus pods during the week for subscribers only. A lot of some or most of this content was going to be subs only. So get yourself a subscription if you don't already have one. And then what else? I mean, Robin and I are going to be doing like wrap up shows for WIFDIF and interviews on site. So it should be, it's a really cool thing to have a tournament where every team is good, really good, and you get to watch every single game, and there's nothing that is overlapping. Every game happens one at a time. If you didn't pay attention to the last World Game cycle, it's just so much fun to be able to lock in for the whole tournament. Now, the time zones, not as good. Not as good for U.S. fans and North American fans. Because games, it's 12 hours ahead of East Coast time. So games start in the kind of like late evening into the night on the East Coast, and the afternoon session is basically in the middle of the night at like, I think 4 a.m., maybe 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., something like that. Hey, you know what? Shift your sleep schedules, folks.
There may have been some consideration for the broadcast audience here, because 2 of the 10 p.m., which I guess I kind of consider the showcase game for the U.S., 2 of those games are U.S. games. U.S. has Japan and Germany, I think, in 2 of the first 3 days at the 10 p.m. Eastern time slot. So something tells me that somebody knew enough to be like, well, there's a big U.S. audience here.
And, it's been discussed.
Extra audience.
It's been discussed.
Yes,
it's one of the first things.
I mean,
old WIFDIF.
To add to the list of things, we'll have the Beat Charlie Challenge. And I know people like beating my friend Charlie over there. So am I putting the right? Nope. Wrong way. Mirrored it. Beat Charlie Challenge. So we'll have that where you can make your picks on who you think is going to medal in what order, as well as a couple other picks, like picking some lines and some games and some other fun stuff, in addition to Fantasy Ultimate. And I think we're going to try and host some watch parties in the Discord for those 10 p.m. games. Might have some special guests, elite players and such show up to talk about what they're seeing in the game with you. So come in and hang out in the Discord, put the game on another screen, and chat about what's going on. I mean, this is one of the coolest events last time around because everybody was in on it. It's like was a great community experience. I hope we get more of that this time around. We're doing our best to provide that for everybody.
This show is running so long. We got to keep it moving. Elite Select Challenge. We actually already have pools, and this tournament is not for a week and a half. Amazing. Let's take a look. I'll let our producer give us a place to start, and we'll start in the women's division. Schwa, the number 1 seed, Parcha the 2, Nightlock the 3, Nemesis the 4. Just a quick look at things. Obviously, normally we would talk about this next week, but we're all World Games next week. So, Keith, quick thoughts on is ESC? I mean, this is always a big determinant of where bids land at the end of the day.
That is really the question. Is who's on the bid bubble here? Because that's the defining characteristic, I feel like, of what we need to be watching for. Like, Parcha is a team that we're going to be keeping an eye on, but we've been at that point all year. If you're looking at the bid bubble and you see you've got teams like Nightlock and Parcha and Grit and Starling, Dark Sky, Ozone,
Nemesis.
All those teams are right around there, and there's not a lot of games that have been played. So, I think that this tournament is definitely going to be telling in how those teams perform and in telling that story of who's going to have the bids, because there's always a couple that have a chance of flipping region. Are they going to be in Mid-Atlantic or Northeast or Northwest? Those are typically the places we're talking about. That's the thing to watch. How do those teams perform?
I mean, Parcha, Nightlock, Nemesis, Grit, Dark Sky. Starling's in this tournament too, right? Starling, Dark Sky, Ozone, all of this tournament, and those teams are all clearly within range of getting a bid. Kelp is last in the bid cutoff right now, but there are 3 points ahead of Nemesis. So basically, this mostly feels like a play really well this weekend and earn a bid. It's pretty cool.
Yep.
Let's go to the next division. Austin Disco Club, coming off their U.S. Open Finals appearance, comes in as the number 1 seed. Toro, Buzzy Team, Tower, Buzzy Team, Shine, Mile High Trash trying to earn a bid for the South Central AMP Rally Space Force. Once again, this is going to be a play well, earn a bid type of situation, and more teams that maybe are going to be scary in the bracket at nationals here in mixed compared to the women's division.
This is a good prove it tournament for a team like Toro that had a great start, but we've seen
number 3 in the rankings right now.
Right. So
Ours
they're
5.
definitely going to be a team to pay attention to. I agree with you that this feels like there's a bit more of the nationals field present in the women's division. And am I misreading this? Mixtape and Polar Bears are the 11 and 9 seeds at ESC. What world are we in?
Mixtape 20th in the rankings right now. Outside looking in at the bid conversation. Right now, the Northwest has 1 bid, Keith. Big pressure on Mixtape.
No red flag to bail them out here.
No, not this time. Next division, men's division. Sockeye, the number 1 seed. Pac-Man coming in at the 2, picking up Alex Atkins for the rest of the season. That's right. Kins is moving to Philly, and he's locked in for Pac-Man on the roster for the rest of the year. So that's an exciting addition to a team that was already kind of a buzzy, are they going to make nationals? Are they going to earn a bid type of team? Condors, Sub, Vault, RDU, Chain, Mallard, the rest of the top 8 here. And this tournament really, again, just comes down to like that 8 to 20 range of teams that are trying to earn bids.
Except perhaps for this Pac-Man team. I mean, if they go out and they win this tournament, like suddenly you got to take them really seriously, right?
Of course you do.
They feel a little bit like an early season bubble team right now, but they would go
they are
from a hype
6th
team
in the
to
rankings.
Like a real team. Yeah, but they're 5-1 from those 6 games.
It's a volatile. Ranking.
Yeah, but they do have a win over Truck Stop, which tends to buoy your ranking a lot. So that's a good spot for them.
And it's not like it's an easy pool. I mean, Mallard and Shrimp are both really good teams.
No, I think they drew one of the harder setups.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's hard to say because it's hard to know like where Sprout and Double Wide and Dark Star are at, but
stand by.
Should be an interesting event.
Yeah. The streaming schedule coming soon. We'll be streaming 3 games per round from ESC. And this is, from a like competition mattering standpoint, easily the most important tournament of the year. So check it out. It's coming up August 16th and 17th in Indianapolis. Okay, UFA playoffs resume this weekend. We got kind of a blowout first round a week ago, and now we head into weekend number 2 for the conference finals, or what are the divisional finals, I guess they should be called. We got a game on Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern time, San Diego taking on Atlanta for the South Crown. And then 5 o'clock Eastern, DC versus Boston on Saturday, 7 Eastern, Minnesota in Chicago for the Central Crown. And then at 9 Eastern, Oakland taking on Salt Lake in Utah for the West. Keith, your thoughts on these games? Are you picking any of the road teams to advance in the UFA playoffs?
There's 2 games. There's 2 games I feel like the favorites are pretty sizable favorites in my mind, and that's Boston and Chicago. They in the Tuesday toss, they had these little graphics comparing the stats, and in those head-to-heads, Boston and Chicago were higher in every category than their opponent. Not to say that it's impossible, like an upset's totally out of whack, but they've been the 2 best teams in my mind this season. I don't see a reason to pick against them, but those other matchups get a little interesting. San Diego, the Growlers are better than I think people realized. And the Hustle have this ghost hanging over their head over their 2 ignominious ends over the past 2 seasons. So I think that's where you get in that matchup. And then the other one, I just think it's like pretty heads up. I think Oakland's really good. Now Salt Lake has had a great regular season. There's something about them that makes me feel like they're gonna have trouble delivering on that. Uh, I think if I'm gonna pick an upset, I'm picking Oakland. Maybe that's probably the smallest upset on the board, but I think I would pick Oakland to win this game. I will pick Oakland to win this game. I should say we're probably
I
just gonna do picks,
I've
right?
I've been
That's
ride
just
or
how I'm picking
die.
'em.
I'm a ride or die Oakland all season. I'm not quitting here. I thought they would have a better regular season than they did, and I think Salt Lake's a very good team.
Yeah,
So I won't be shocked at all if Salt Lake wins. But Oakland for me, more big game experience, more tested veterans. Salt Lake has sometimes struggled in these big spots, and it's different beast than playing in the regular season. That said, they're going to have a massive home crowd cheering them on, and that matters. That is a big, big benefit. But I think if Oakland can get a couple early breaks, take the crowd out of the game, they can run away with it. So I'm taking Oakland. Give me the hustle. They're finally going to get through the hump that is getting out of the South. They can't ask for a better spot. I mean, San Diego is definitely good enough to beat them, but the hustle, it would be, we're going to be talking about like all-time choke teams of the UFA if they don't win this year. Like, they don't even have to face Carolina in the playoffs. Like, you got to win this game, hustle. You have to win. You're at home. You're the more talented team. You've had the better season. You've got to win this game. Chicago's going to destroy Minnesota. I'm very confident the Union are going to win that game. And I actually disagree with you, Keith. I know Boston's been good. DC has been the better team for the last 6 weeks. I'm taking the Breeze to upset the Glory in Boston. I think that we've seen the Breeze and, not the same team, but Truck look really, really sharp over the last month. It feels like they've settled in. Feels like they've figured out their offense. I love the way their role players are playing. I think that they're just simply better than the Glory right now.
I think between Truck's performance this weekend and you seeing them absolutely throttle New York, you're over indexing there. I'm still taking
What
Boston.
about when DC beat Boston in Boston not very long ago?
I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm sticking with Boston. I feel like they got enough of a resume to back them. I mean, wouldn't you make that same argument against our double Oakland pick, given that they lost to Salt Lake twice this season, both in Oakland and in Salt Lake?
I'm picking and choosing my justifications and rationalizations for my picks.
Fair.
As always, Keith.
Look, I'm riding with you. I'm riding with you on Oakland. It's going to help. They just played, a bunch of them just played a week at altitude. They're going to be ready for altitude. I feel like they're more talented. I feel like Oakland's more talented. So I'm with it, even though Dexter Clyburn's not dressed for some reason. I'm basically taking the same slate, except that I'm picking Boston over DC.
Okay.
Although it would be just so Atlanta to lose this game. Just
oh god,
so Atlanta sports.
Oh god,
we Atlantans are doomed.
That would be so brutal. I mean, at least Brett Holzmeier is on the team and not on the World Games team, right? You'd be a lot more worried when he wasn't playing, right? Right?
I guess that's true. Yeah,
he's had some tough moments in big spots. We'll see how it goes this weekend. The one of the games is free on YouTube, the Friday night game, which is the San Diego Atlanta game, 8:00 Friday, August 8th. So I'm hoping to catch some of these games on my flight if I have good internet. Not feeling confident about that, but gonna enjoy the weekend of UFA games as we get the championship weekend slate set. Okay, mailbag question of the week time. We've been bubbling around this question. Fury, Revolver, and Mischief are all at number 1 in the rankings right now, Keith. Has the Bay Area ever been so back?
Probably not. I mean, we are super back, and it feels pretty legit as far as like you're gonna put Fury and Revolver near the head of the class to win their respective divisions right now. I don't know if you'd say the same about Mischief, but how much of a headwind can you build up in the mixed division? I think Hybrid would be our favorite there, but Mischief's a suitable challenger. I think you're a little worried about them based on how last year went, but and even beyond that, the Bay's mixed reputation is sterling. I mean, they have like 8 national level team or something ridiculous there. So even if Mischief was a number one, I don't think you would besmirch the Bay Area's performance in the mixed division. They got YCC action too. They're doing well at both in multiple divisions at YCCs. You got to be feeling the Bay right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not totally convinced by Mischief, but I'm very convinced by Fury, and I'm not quite as convinced by Revolver, but that's just because the Fury is just on a tier of their own right now relative to their division. But yeah, I mean, the Bay looks super strong, and imagine if they consolidated their mixed talent. It'd be even crazier.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't be the Bay.
True.
It'd be some other crazy town. It'd be Minneapolis or something. That's not what they want. They want it. They want it their way.
They have so many teams in the Bay now that they had to split into 2 sectionals. They have to have an East Bay and a West Bay. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good. As Charlie knows, I met my my wife in the Bay, so I got love for the Bay for sure.
Cue up the E40 right now. Good stuff. Great show. Thank you, everybody. We will have a subscriber bonus segment sometime later this week. I don't know when it's going to be. Crazy week because of the travel and everything. But for Keith Raynor, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we will talk to you on Monday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the YouTube live show, World Games Preview next week, and then multiple sub bonuses coming your way during World Games. Fired up. Keith Raynor, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you on Monday right here on Deep Look.
I will beat Charlie in the Beat Charlie Challenge. It is me.